Now, it's been over 100 days since the formation of the Government of National Unity. This was formed after the ANC lost its majority in the national election. Despite the loss, the GNU has been broadly welcomed, lifting sentiment. And joining me now to take stock of the 7th administration is Financial Mail's Patrick Bulger. Thank you so much for your time, Patrick. The election that many thought would break South Africa over 100 days into the rule of the new government. Are we making it?
Well, somehow we bounced back, Zinati. As I try to sketch in my piece, really before the election, the outlook was gloomy for South Africa. Obviously, we had load shedding, just a general sort of malaise that had settled over government. And of course, there was optimism on the one hand, but then also a lot of trepidation about the election and how it would go. And I think as a country, we acquitted ourselves. We ran a successful election, albeit one where there was no clear winner. And hopefully that possibly produces a circumstance in which the only clear winner will be the people of the country itself.
It was actually quite interesting because, you look at these different parties that have disagreed most of the time, and everybody thought that it would be chaos. But it is a good thing. Is it a good thing that they're so different when they were coming in together that now we're actually witnessing healthy competition between the parties that could actually be an economic growth driver?
Yeah, on the one hand, you might argue that the DA has abdicated its role as a proper opposition and is no longer as tenaciously in opposition to the ANC as it was. On the other hand, DA ministers seen for the first time the complexities, if you like, of government, the difficulties of trying to run an administration in our circumstances, given our straitened, fiscal position, etc. So at the same time, then the GNU possibly opens itself as a forum for different ideas about how we approach the problems and the challenges that have been outlined and identified in the statement of intent and other documents which are meant to guide the work of the GNU.
Yeah. And Patrick, actually, as much as all these parties have come together to form this coalition, but as Ramaphosa is still the president, would you say that maybe he has proven to be the most fitting leader to kind of be the glue for the GNU?
Well, he seems to be the man of the moment, if you like, in the sense that he, I think, has the credibility to have basically pulled this off, to have persuaded his colleagues in the ANC that, yes, indeed, what seems to be a step backwards could, if played right, be a step forward.
Yeah. He's
been able to kind of massage or camouflage the fact that the ANC actually lost the election. And I think, obviously, his vintage, his as a negotiator, as a chief negotiator, this has stood him in good stead. And I think alone among his ANC comrades, he has really the profile to be able to give life to what is, as you suggest, an unlikely project.
Well, let's talk about the welcoming of the GNU and particularly bring it to the financial markets. Would you say that there's been an overwhelming blessing of the GNU by the financial markets?
Yeah, look, the markets, you might say that they're optimistic, if you like. Possibly some of it is wishful thinking. But there does seem to be some sort of progress, in areas like Eskom and Transnet. And there does seem to be a bit more clarity in policy. And certainly the doors are open to investment. How long this sort of euphoria, if you like, is going to last is another question. But of course, it's vital for the GNU because the GNU, as we're told, is the only vehicle, the only credible vehicle to attract the sort of investment that we need in South Africa. So it had better live up to its billing in that sense.
Well, I mean, could there, though, be any kind of threat, because there's all this optimism, but could there be any kind of threat to the GNU, its progress, maybe from the parties that tore up their invitations to the coalition?
Absolutely. I mean, well, first of all, you've got, in a sort of structural sense, you've got to ask yourself, what is the future of what is essentially a middle-class democracy that preserves its own interests? And that's superimposed really on a situation of mass unemployment, crisis in health, crisis in housing, etc. So just how stable can that prove to be in our circumstances? On the other hand, it depends on the parties. A lot depends, obviously, on the president's future in the ANC. Obviously, he's coming near, to the end of his term, or he will be, quite quickly. So, will future ANC presidents, will future ANC leaders be inclined to see things the same way? Quite possibly not.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned not just to Business Day TV, but to South Africa to find out more. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights today. Patrick, that was Patrick Bulger from Financial Mail.